What is going on, guys? Thank you so very much for stopping by the channel again today. I got a little bit of extra for you. It is October 14th, 2021. I am JD from New York, and this is Off the Script. Follow me on social media at JD from NY206. That's Twitter and Instagram. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell for all notifications. If you guys missed any of the content on the channel, make sure you guys go and check all that stuff out. It's on the homepage right now. Monday Night Raw, NXT, a few extras. We got an extra today. We got an extra tomorrow. I'm loading the channel up this week, so make sure you guys go and check that stuff out on the homepage. And today's show, once again, sponsored by my great friends over at Honey. Join honey.com/offthescript. Make sure you guys go and get that free web browser downloaded to your web browser on the PC, and make sure you guys are saving money with Honey. That is joinhoney.com/offthescript. We're going to start at the top, man, in a story that I'm not really all that surprised by. And if you guys remember I don't want to say weeks ago, it was several weeks ago, where Jericho and Nick Gage had a match on AEW Dynamite leading into All Out. Jericho's labors of Jericho on his way to his match with MJF at All Out. There was a match between Jericho and Nick Gage, and there was a pizza cutter spot in the middle of that match that sent fans online into a frenzy. Now, if you guys remember the entire sequence of events, Nick Gage, Matt Cardona, it was a big deal for GCW. Gage dropped the title to Cardona. Gage showed up on AEW Dynamite and did the same type of death match with Chris Jericho. There was a pizza cutter spot in the Cardona match in Atlantic City with GCW, and then there was a pizza cutter spot in the match with Jericho on Dynamite. The thing is, Pabst Blue Ribbon Beer picked up on the pizza cutter spot, and they were all over that because Cardona drinks Pabst, and there was a commercial, and it was a nice little thing going on between the two brands. Then we get to Dynamite, and apparently in a oddball event, there was the pizza cutter spot in the Jericho match, and right after that, they went to a picture-in-picture commercial break, and then conveniently, there was a Domino's pizza ad. There was a big thing online about Domino's not wanting their brand to be showcased with such violence, pizza cutter, blood, light tubes, Gage. They didn't want their brand affiliated with that type of imagery. There was a report that came out a day or two after that match aired that WWE actually reached out to the sponsors during Dynamite, showed them that clip because they had no idea what was going on. And it was, in a way, pretty much, for me to put it in simplest terms, WWE told on AEW, "Oh, you're not supposed to do that. I'm going to go tell the teacher." You know, a situation like that. Now it brings me to this story, and now that you know the backstory on that, when I read this to you, you're not going to be surprised at all. WWE accused of leaking AEW info to the news sites online. All the wrestling dirt sheets. In the latest chapter of ongoing company warfare between AEW and WWE, WWE has now been accused of leaking some AEW information to the news websites. For those who aren't aware, full details on Friday's TV ratings don't become available until the following Monday. But in the past few weeks, the quote-unquote Fast Nationals, an early version of the ratings that are usually lower than the final ones, have been reported online, which I don't know why the dirt sheets report the Fast Nationals. Nobody gives a shit about the Fast Nationals. But WWE apparently cares about the Fast Nationals for one very important reason. The Fast Nationals aren't available for free, as they have to be purchased to get that analytic. Now, here's the scoop. Voices of Wrestling, the official Twitter account of Voices of Wrestling, is allegedly saying that WWE is leaking the Fast Nationals number for Rampage. This is what Voices of Wrestling tweet last night on Twitter. And I quote, "Here's the scoop. WWE is leaking the Rampage Fast Nationals. This was tipped off to us and then confirmed by at least one of the outlets that has been reporting the Fast Nationals. Come up with your own motivations, but that's who is feeding this information to the news sites. My theory is that their strategy is to present Rampage as AEW being weak. SmackDown airs on the same night, so it's a great PR move to compare the numbers, especially since the general public has no understanding of what a good number at the Friday night time slot at 10 p.m. is. Just look at Twitter and how many blithering idiots exist on social media. You guys know the deal with social media. It's also notable that these leaks weren't happening until Rampage began to level off. Find me a Fast National headline for the Punk return or Rampage being number one on cable. WWE can only claim AEW isn't competition for so long. PR leaks and a 2.5-hour SmackDown this week was inevitable. End quote. Now, Tony Khan is fighting back and bringing some heat this Friday. He's doing a live buy-in from 9 to 10 to combat at least 1 hour of Friday Night SmackDown. SmackDown is doing 30 minutes overrun for a Sasha Banks-Becky Lynch match that probably will end in a fucking disqualification of some sorts, because this match is leading to a triple threat match with Bianca Belair on Thursday at Crown Jewel, and none of these women can afford to lose and look weak, being that Becky's the champion, and Sasha more than likely is winning the SmackDown Women's Championship because she's the only woman on this show for this match that is a part of the SmackDown brand competing for the SmackDown title. Unless WWE does something very out of left field and has Becky retain, and then we do Becky versus Charlotte at Survivor Series and we unify the titles. And we get one women's championship spread across two brands. Now, I don't know if that's going to be the case. I've been wanting that to happen since 2016, but I don't think WWE deserves that type of credit or anything along those lines because they don't meddle in long-term booking. They don't have a fucking idea what to do with their women's division. It's fucking terrible right now. But going back to this story, Tony Khan and WWE have been going back to back for, obviously PR reasons, tit for tat. And I'm not surprised by this story leaking. Because if WWE has proven anything to us, they want you to think that they are not scared of AEW. They want you to think that AEW is not competition to them. In every breath, WWE has never mentioned AEW being competition, but in every action that WWE has showed us, they have absolutely gone on there, and every action equals AEW's competition. This is not the only thing that WWE has done. Everything since the birth of AEW has been to stifle AEW, with NXT moving to live 2 hours on USA Network being the one big thing that WWE did to stifle AEW competition, and they ultimately failed. Now AEW is gaining traction. Now AEW is very, very close. They're really bringing it to a neck-and-neck competition on Monday with Raw in the 18-49 demo, and AEW has beaten Raw a couple of times in the last month or so in the 18-49 demo. But AEW is not competition. You can call them a pissant company, you can call them a t-shirt company, all you want. But at the end of the day, what they are is competition. What they are is a company revitalizing professional wrestling, while WWE is afraid to admit that not only AEW is competition, but afraid to admit that their product is just painfully uncool right now and does not resemble the current trend in the market that they're in, and that is professional wrestling. I'm not surprised by this whatsoever. WWE at every twist and turn is going to take the cheap route and make AEW look weak, which you and I both know it's not. So WWE's paying for analytics that are not available to the general public. They're leaking it to the websites because who in the last couple of weeks have reported the fucking Fast Nationals? I didn't even know Fast Nationals existed or what Fast Nationals were before the last couple of weeks. I'm seeing these reports. Fast Nationals? Who gives a shit? Tony Khan knows the rating on Friday night is down. He knows. It's going to rectify itself. Rampage was never meant to be a ratings monster for AEW. How many times do I have to come on here and repeat myself? He knows there's a problem. There is a problem with Rampage. Everybody who watches it knows it. It's taped. Everybody knows that they could get the spoilers online, and nothing big happens on Rampage. It's an extension of Dynamite that gives opportunities to those that are not booked on Dynamite. Why are we making the ratings for Rampage a big fucking deal? At the end of the day, WWE comes off looking like petty fucking assholes. Nobody's gonna blame AEW in this case. They're all gonna look at WWE and ask themselves, why? Why don't you worry about your own fucking show? That's my take on this. Why don't you worry about your own fucking TV show? Because we all know the show on Monday night fucking sucks. It is god-awful. I cringe when people tell me, oh, Raw's been better in the last couple of weeks. No, it hasn't. This is a fabrication of your own imagination. It's not. It's still the same terrible program, no matter how you look at it, no matter what type of draft they have. Look at the ratings. Where are all the people that used to watch Monday Night Raw? They're certainly not watching the fucking show now. Why? As soon as WWE addresses that problem, then we can begin the road to reconciliation. Until then, shut the fuck up. Dynamite's only been on the up. Everybody wants to say, oh, Dynamite's ratings are going down. Same thing with Monday Night Raw for the same fucking reason that you're blaming Rampage and Dynamite about. Because there is MLB playoffs. The NBA season has started. There's college football. There's Thursday night and Monday night football. Hockey is now on TNT. Look yourselves in the mirror and worry about your own fucking show. At the end of the day, Dynamite is putting out a better product than WWE. And if you don't think so, then you're a fucking idiot. Anybody can realize which is better. Watch the show. I fell asleep during Monday Night Raw. I've never fallen asleep during Dynamite, ever. One is appointment television. The other one is let me get to bed early so I can wake up refreshed the next morning television. Worry about your own fucking show because you're in a fucking shitstorm all by yourself. Fix your show. And stop worrying about what others are doing. Yeah, you want to eliminate AEW for what? So you could be the only fucking show in town? Yes, because that went so well for you. Now this competition, you're still not putting on good television with competition now available. Worry about your own fucking show. Speaking about AEW, Adam Hangman Page and Kenny Omega is confirmed to be the main event of AEW Full Gear in November. Page made his return to TV recently. He was revealed as the Joker in the Casino ladder match last week on Dynamite. The match also featured Pac, Andrade, El Idolo, Jon Moxley, Lance Archer, Orange Cassidy, and Matt Hardy. With Page winning the ladder match, he earned the title match against AEW World Champion Kenny Omega at Full Gear. Presumably Full Gear. So AEW didn't announce when the match would take place when he won the match, but speculation amongst fans is that it will happen at Full Gear in November. AEW President Tony Khan confirmed in an interview with Robbie Barstool on My Mom's Basement that the match will indeed take place at Full Gear. So this is now the one and only match that has been confirmed for AEW Full Gear. Khan mentioned the news after talking about how Omega beat Page in last year's Eliminator Tournament Finals at Full Gear, and now the rematch will take place 1 year later. Khan stated, and I quote, I'm sure you were a fan of the AEW Eliminator Tournament. Last year, it culminated in Kenny versus Hangman, which is a very fitting thing because now we go into Full Gear. This year, we're back, and now Kenny is the world champion, and he's facing Hangman. As we saw last year, Kenny won the Eliminator Tournament and ended up winning the title from Jon Moxley. End quote. Originally, AEW was planning this match for the All Out pay-per-view event, but Page took time off to be there with his wife as they just had their first child. and Omega defended the AEW World title against Christian Cage instead. Wow, would you look at that, Vince? Would you look at that, Bruce? Huh? Long-term booking. Worry about your own fucking show. This is the only match that makes sense. This is the only thing announced for Full Gear right now. Adam Hangman Page, as far as I'm concerned, should be beating Kenny Omega for the AEW World Championship. And I think when that happens in Minneapolis at Full Gear, the crowd is going to go absolutely crazy. It is time. It is time. I would say the same thing about Roman Reigns. If somebody was in the position to take the title off him, like Hangman is in the position to take the title off Kenny Omega, I'd say the same thing about Roman, but I can't find anybody on that current roster right now that is a Hangman Page. So Roman Reigns should not lose the championship. It is time for Kenny Omega to drop that championship. It is time to continue the elevation of Adam Page, and it's time to move forward in the lineage of the AEW World Championship. And this is what I love about AEW. This all makes sense, and it takes a page out of the long-term booking that we've seen so very well done in the 2 years in AEW. I can't wait. This is going to be awesome. And Kenny Omega, more than likely, I know it's rumored that he's been injured. Maybe he takes some time off. Maybe he comes back. Maybe he reassesses everything in how he looks at the Elite and where he stands with the Elite. Maybe they kick him out of the Elite. Maybe we get Cole kicking him out. And we get Cole versus Omega. Maybe Omega returns as a babyface. I don't know. Very interesting situations happening in AEW, which, again, at the end of the day, makes it the must-see program over WWE. It's the more desirable program over current WWE television. I can't wait. Paige is going to be the new AEW World Champion. Speaking of Full Gear, there was a big story on social media yesterday about Tony Khan and this notebook that he was holding. I believe it was at a Jacksonville Jaguars game, and he was photographed with a notebook that's, I'm not really surprised by the internet geeks online trying to document and dissect what was in his notebook, as if anybody gives a shit about what Tony Khan is writing in his off time in his notebook. There was an entire thread about Full Gear being leaked because Tony Khan was photographed with this notebook that supposedly had Full Gear matches or ideas written on them and possible directions on where he wants to go with current feuds on TV right now. Full Gear is less than a month away, and it will be in Minneapolis. It's going to be a big show. AEW has pay-per-views 4 times a year, and this is going to be one of the bigger shows of the year, as all of them are, because that's the way they're built. Kenny Omega vs. Hangman Page is the only match announced for this show. Sammy Guevara doesn't have a match lined up yet. Also, Khan has not decided on who Britt Baker will defend the Women's Championship against. Cody Rhodes doesn't have a match. The Lucha Brothers don't have a match yet for Full Gear. But the notebook listed these matches for the show so far. Omega versus Page for the AEW World title. MJF versus Darby Allin in a singles match. I could absolutely see this match taking place at Full Gear because AEW was going to do this match on Saturday, this coming Saturday on Dynamite, but they ran an angle where the Pinnacle attacked Darby Allin backstage in the parking lot on last week's show. So they may play an injury angle and then prolong this a little bit, build up the story a little bit more, and then do the match at Full Gear so there's even more investment on what's going on there. I like it. Thunder Rosa versus Jade Cargill. I don't really see that being a pay-per-view match. I see that more being a Dynamite match, if anything. But it may be too soon to do the Thunder Rosa versus Britt Baker match. I see that match actually taking place in February at Revolution. But if Britt Baker is now wrestling Thunder Rosa, who is Britt Baker going to go up against at Full Gear in defense of that AEW Women's Championship? There really isn't anybody worth it to me. There isn't. We ran through Ruby Soho. We did Thunder Rosa at the Dynamite show that they did at Daly's Place with that unsanctioned match. That's going to be the rematch that he's building to. Chris Statlander got her shot. Red Velvet got her shot. Can't do Jade Cargill because they're both heels. Who else is there? The Bunny Anna Jay, Tay Conti, Nyla Rose. There's really nobody on that women's roster right now that makes a compelling match with Britt Baker. She's seemingly beaten everybody, and all anybody wants is the match with Thunder Rosa. Jon Moxley, this is an interesting one. Jon Moxley versus Bryan Danielson. Now, I'm all for that. I think that'd be great, but who knows? I had Bryan Danielson pegged against Adam Cole at Full Gear. That's the way I seen it. But maybe I'm wrong. CM Punk versus Wardlow at Full Gear. Not really something that I'm interested in. Maybe this is the beginning stages of what Jesse and I talked about on Wednesday, because after MJF came out and attacked Darby Allin verbally to set up this feud with Darby, I almost felt like it was leading towards MJF versus CM Punk. Maybe that's what they're doing for Revolution. And this is just the beginning stages of Punk versus Wardlow. That will eventually lead to Punk versus MJF in February. I don't know. Adam Cole, not against Bryan Danielson, but Christian Cage. I'm not for that match at all. To me, that sounds more like a Dynamite match than anything. Inner Circle versus American Top Team. I would assume that's where Guevara is going to be slotted in. There's going to be no TNT title defense. Maybe it's 4-on-4. I've been enjoying the work of Ethan Page very much so, and Scorpio Sky. I think they're both better off now than they were a few months back. So we'll see what happens there. The Young Bucks versus Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy. Cody Rhodes versus Miro, Malachi Black, or Andrade. One of the three. I don't know. As far as I'm concerned, the only one that makes sense is Malachi Black, being that he is still on the Cody Rhodes Nightmare Family rampage. But then you're going to leave Miro and Andrade off the show, and they deserve an opportunity to get on pay-per-view as well. Lucha Brothers versus FTR. That is penciled in. Britt Baker versus Unknown, ? And that is what Tony Khan had written in his notebook. Sounds like a good card on paper, but I would kind of rearrange things here and there. I'd do Adam Cole versus Bryan Danielson. Maybe we do Andrade versus Jon Moxley, or Miro versus Jon Moxley, and we get Malachi Black versus Cody Rhodes. The one question is, I don't know who Britt Baker goes up against. That's the biggest question mark of all. But the thing with Tony Khan is, a lot of people are looking at this, why would he have all of this out in the public? Why not? This is a man, when I look at this picture, when I see Tony Khan and this notebook, this is a man who's thinking ahead. Why is this a bad thing? People are claiming that he spoiled the AEW Full Gear Card. Who gives a shit? Are you really online complaining about what this man is doing and you're not looking at the bigger picture here? This is a man who, in his free time at a fucking football game, has a wrestling notebook with ideas and thoughts, and he's getting together his plans to book long term. Why is this a bad thing for you people? I don't really understand why this is one thing you need to complain about in regards to Tony Khan and AEW. This man has AEW on the mind 24/7. This notebook is confirmation that he's thinking ahead. Would you rather him not have any notes and then go into Dynamite and Full Gear with nothing? Stop complaining. This is a good thing. I would rearrange things. Maybe Tony Khan put it out there as a fucking troll job. Who knows? Who knows? Who's to say his plans won't change? Now that he knows this information's out there, maybe he's reworking ideas to throw everybody off. Now that everybody knows his ideas for Full Gear, now he knows this and he's going to change it up, so he's going to keep you guessing, and that's what he's done so well with the booking of his show. He keeps you guessing and he keeps you coming back for more. So why does everybody think this is the solid, concrete shit? I could see some of these matches happening. Omega Hangman, Darby versus MJF, Inner Circle versus American Top Team, Cody versus Malachi, Lucha Brothers versus FTR. I could see that. I could see those matches happening. Punk versus Wardlow, you got to sell me on that one. Could be good, but I think at the end of the day, everybody's going to want to see MJF versus Punk a lot more than anything regarding Wardlow. Adam Cole versus Christian Cage, I would do Adam Cole versus Bryan Danielson. That's what needs to be. Unless he's saving that for February, I have no idea. And then we got Danielson versus Jon Moxley. I think that's a great match, but I don't necessarily think that is going to be a more interesting match than Danielson and Adam Cole. So we'll see what happens, man. But everybody's going crazy over this fucking leaked card. Who gives a shit? Just appreciate the fact that this man is thinking for you. He's thinking long term. It's more than we can say about WWE programming. If they took a page out of this man's book and actually gave a shit like this man gives a shit, we'd all be in a happier place. Speaking of happier place, the Young Bucks are very happy with where they are, making a boatload of money, best tag team in the world right now next to 2 or 3 other fucking teams that exist on that same roster. The Young Bucks react to my boy, $0. Top Dollar in the fucking dirt again. What are you doing, bro? You haven't even made your debut on Friday Night SmackDown, and you're already a loser. Already a loser. The Young Bucks updated their Twitter bio like they usually do because they're all fucking playing you marks out there. And it looks like it's a direct response to something Top Dollar from Hit Row said on his account. The latest Bucks bio ends up reading this, and I quote, "Spent more on sneakers in September than the entire NXT roster did," end quote. Now, Top Dollar has been very vocal about some of his critics online, and after it was announced that Hit Row was getting called up to SmackDown, he went on a blocking spree, blocking everybody and all the negative comments that you could possibly imagine. But a recent comment about certain wrestlers wearing sneakers on camera to look cool and hip is what many people are talking about. Top Dollar tweeted this, and I quote, "Some of y'all favorite wrestlers only wear sneakers on camera to seem cool and hip, but in real life, they rock Vans and Asics exclusively. But y'all not ready for that conversation." End quote. So Top Dollar tweeted this when MVP told him to say the names of the people he's talking about. Then he says this to MVP, and I quote, "I prefer not to mention members of the competition, but if you watch they show, they tell on themselves." End quote. Oh, that's funny, Top Dollar, because one of the guys that we're talking about here that you failed to mention is Adam Cole, who was actually the leader of your locker room in NXT for the last 4 years. So please go on and fucking throw shade at somebody who elevated the brand that you're currently on to the next level only before the entire thing came crashing down on your fucking head. Now it's trash. So many took this tweet as a shot at the Young Bucks and the Elites, and it looks like the Bucks saw this, and they obviously were having some fun with it. So let me rephrase. Let me see if I can rework Top Dollar's original tweet to sound a little bit more along the lines of what it really should read. So we're going to kind of fill in the blanks here. This is what the tweet that Top Dollar put out about some y'all favorite wrestlers. This is what I think it should read, and I quote, "Some of y'all favorite wrestlers sell their creative freedoms and individuality for cheap TV time, written by an out-of-touch 70-year-old man and his circus. But in real life, they wish they were having genuine fun with the guys wearing the Gucci shoes that this so-called t-shirt company and pissant company employs. But some of y'all are not ready for that conversation." End quote. You know, Mr. AJ Francis, Top Dollar, shit row. It's exactly where you're going to end up being. I want to see you tweet. I want to see the activities of your tweets when you're on fucking Main Event jobbing after 3 months. I want to see the activity of your tweet when you get into the Royal Rumble, big man, and you're eliminated in fucking 45 seconds, thrown over the top rope by fucking somebody half your size because nobody believes in Hit Row anymore. You know, the cost of being humble costs $0. You've done nothing in this industry. You've done nothing to really generate any interest in anything that you're doing. You're a fucking second-rate, I don't even say second-rate, a fucking eighth-rate rapper, wannabe rapper who thinks he's fucking better than he really is. And you're playing a role on television, and you're expecting all this fame and fortune, and you're acting as if you've been in the industry for fucking 15 years. You're acting as if you're on the same level as a Randy Orton and AJ Styles by the way you speak to everybody online. Who the fuck are you? The amount of time you've been in this industry, bro, I've waited in line at Starbucks longer than you've been in this fucking industry. Waiting for a goddamn hot cup of drip coffee. Being humble costs $0 when you have nothing but detractors and haters leaning towards Hit Row. Then you can look at yourself in the mirror and realize, where did I go wrong? Where did we go wrong? It's because of someone like you. As far as I'm concerned, you're bringing Hit Row negativity. You're making Hit Row into a shit row. You're bringing a bad aura to Hit Row already, and you haven't even debuted on Friday Night SmackDown yet. Let's see what you can do before you start talking this big game on social media. Because if you went away tomorrow, nobody would remember you at all, bro. You'd be at fucking line at Dunkin' Donuts. Actually, not even in line. You'd be behind the fucking counter serving my goddamn fucking coffee. You'd be pumping gas. I pull up to the gas station. Yeah, 30 regular, please. Fill the stang up. That's where you'd be. Nobody would remember who you are or what you did ever. Shut the fuck up and be humble. Honestly. $0. Should make a whole fucking segment on the show. What did $0 say now? AEW signs Mr. Scorpio Sky to a 5-year extension. During the All Out buy-in pre-show, it was mentioned that Sky had signed a new deal with the promotion when he was shown in the crowd with Ethan Page, Dan Lambert, Jorge Masvidal, Junior Dos Santos, and the rest of American Top Team. At the time, it wasn't clear whether this was actually the case or just the storyline. Sky did an interview with Mike Johnson of PW Insider where he discussed a wide range of topics, and during it, he was asked about his contract status. Sky says, I did that around the time of the pay-per-view. I'm very happy to be with AEW for at least 5 more years. Good for him, man. Listen, Scorpio Sky has a ton of potential. Ethan Page has been awesome. I'm a big Ethan Page guy. I think he's a great promo. I think with American Top Team, these guys feel more important than they ever have. And I was very skeptical about their tag team. And I think with American Top Team and Dan Lambert as a mouthpiece, I think with Dan Lambert, it's actually taken them to the next level. And Lambert is a very good promo. He just gets it. For a UFC guy, coming to AEW and doing what he's doing on AEW television, it's awesome. I wish WWE had somebody like that, a mouthpiece for somebody that could really generate interest like Dan Lambert is doing for AEW and American Top Team. I do. But this is a great move. They obviously believe, Tony Khan obviously believes, AEW obviously believes in Scorpio Sky, and they gave him a 5-year extension. If they did not, then he would not be signed for 5 years. I'm very interested to see where they go as a tag team, and it's just another tag team on a list of tag teams that is going to be a big deal in AEW if they allow them to be. Very interested to see where Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky go. The Iconics. The Moronics. Remember them? Yeah, I don't. Apparently, they are now signed with Impact Wrestling and will be announced for Bound for Glory. Impact has added a huge match. Huge match. Involving Cassie Lee and Jessica McKay. Formerly Billie Kay and Peyton Royce. They are now known as the Inspiration. Inspiration to who? I'm still struggling to figure that out. This is added to the Bound for Glory show next week. They will be challenging Rosemary and Jessica Havoc of Decay for the Knockouts Tag Team Championships next Saturday during Bound for Glory. Impact announced the match on Twitter. This will see Lee and McKay, formerly Peyton Royce and Billie Kay of the Iconics, return to the ring following their WWE releases in April. Impact has previously announced that the Inspiration would debut for Impact Wrestling at Bound for Glory. Impact will headline this show with Christian Cage defending the Impact World Championship against Josh Alexander, and I think it's time for a new champion. If there's anything I know about Josh Alexander, he has been incredible. If there's one guy that's going to make me watch this show, it's Josh Alexander. I may actually end up watching this show just for him to see what he does, man, because that's a guy that I would love to see succeed at all levels, honestly. I can't wait to see what he does, especially given the ball with the championship and be the head guy there on Impact Wrestling. But as far as Cassie Lee and Jessica McKay, man, you know, I can only hope. I can only hope. And this is not a knock on Impact's women's division. I think it's probably the best women's division in all of pro wrestling right now. WWE can actually learn a thing or three from Impact Wrestling. But I can only hope that we get a different version of Cassie Lee and Jessica McKay, man. We may probably get that fucking cringe comedy, that unfunny, charismatic nature about them that everybody was so in love with. I never got wind of what was so special about these two. I can only hope that they're given a little bit more freedom to actually show us that they can wrestle. And Impact Wrestling is a nice stage and a nice platform to do that. I don't think they're going to be as bad as they were for WWE because, let's be real, WWE looked at them as jokes. They were nothing but comedy acts, right? I can only hope that when we see them on Impact Wrestling that they're a lot better than what we were used to seeing on WWE television. And I will be the judge of that because I will be watching this show. I will be watching this show. And I will say whether or not that they actually got better or they look worse or they remain the same. You guys can always expect honesty from me. I don't see how these two are going to change anything about the already stacked women's division, but I'm glad that they found work, and I'm glad that they're actually doing something together that they love because in real life, they're best friends, so good for them. And finally, guys, WWE making sense of something. Must be a good day. WWE actually canceled the December TLC pay-per-view. I wish they'd cancel it forever. I wish we would just get gimmick pay-per-views to go away and we get these matches spread across the 12 months in ways that enhance a feud. Not because it's December, we got TLC, October, Hell in a Cell, February, Elimination Chamber. No. These matches should be used to enhance feuds instead of expecting them because, oh my God, Hell in a Cell, Halloween, October. It's cringe. Now, the announcement with Edge and Seth Rollins, I would, and I said this on Friday, I would actually look at this to be a little bit better than it came off if WWE didn't give us 5 fucking Hell in a Cell matches throughout the goddamn year. If this was the only Hell in a Cell match all year, and Edge made that announcement, I'll see you inside Hell in a Cell, then I would be, oh my God, that sounds great. It's going to be a great match. But the fact that the announcement was made after we've seen fucking 5 Hell in a Cell matches this year, it takes away from the overall impact of the announcement. But WWE is getting rid of the TLC pay-per-view, at least for this year. It was scheduled to take place on December 19th, but as per Dave Meltzer and the Wrestling Observer Live, there will now be no pay-per-view in the month of December. Instead, WWE is going to focus on Day 1, which is a pay-per-view that will be happening on January 1, 2022, and that is theoretically being counted as the December pay-per-view. Meltzer explained this, and I quote, the decision was made that originally it was going to be a pay-per-view in Chicago at the Allstate Arena in mid-December, and the feeling is now that they're doing a December pay-per-view in January on the 1st. The idea of doing January 1 rather than do mid to late December, and they're going to still do a Royal Rumble in January as well, as that was rumored to be happening in February, but they moved it back to the last week of January. Now, a lot of people were wondering why they moved the December pay-per-view off of the calendar, and that is now a TV taping. Who's going to get this pay-per-view? And the answer is there is no pay-per-view. That's what Meltzer said. Fightful is also reporting that the plan for no December pay-per-view was made over a month ago, and internal calendars have now been updated. WWE sources reportedly indicated that the previously scheduled December pay-per-view was scrapped because of January 1's Day 1 pay-per-view, and that would have been happening too soon after. January event has been spearheaded. Day 1 has been spearheaded by Nick Khan Man, as per the report from Fightful. I wish they'd get rid of it indefinitely, completely. Get rid of it. Get rid of that. Get rid of Hell in a Cell. Get rid of Elimination Chamber. And I wouldn't even necessarily get rid of Elimination Chamber. I wouldn't call it pay-per-view Elimination Chamber. I would revert back to No Way Out or name it something completely different. Get rid of these gimmick Money in the Bank, get rid of it. Put Money in the Bank back at WrestleMania. Get rid of these gimmick pay-per-views. Give me not themed pay-per-views, but cool pay-per-view names. Make these pay-per-views seem important. TLC was a garbage pay-per-view. They weren't even using it to do anything. It was just ladder matches for the sake of having ladder matches. And I pitched the idea, if WWE wants to do a Raw versus SmackDown Survivor Series match, the winner of that match, whether it be Raw or SmackDown, the 5 guys on the winning team get placed in a reward match, TLC, if they wanted to play up consistency with their pay-per-views, get placed in the ladder match, and they challenge for a number one contendership for their brand's world championship, and that championship match happens at the Royal Rumble, so you're bridging Survivor Series, TLC, and the Royal Rumble together. But they didn't have any fun with that. They didn't think outside the box. They didn't really want to make sense of anything. These pay-per-views were largely unimportant. Who gives a fuck about a ladder match? Who gives a shit about a chairs match? Or a stairs match in some years? Trash. How can anybody look at that and say memorable? Have you ever went back on the network and watched a fucking stairs match? Give me a break. WWE getting rid of this pay-per-view for December is great. Day one. Then we got the Royal Rumble. It's a lot of time in between anyway, between day one and the Royal Rumble. So I like this move. It actually makes sense. And if WWE got rid of all their gimmick pay-per-views, including Money in the Bank, I would be a much happier fan at the end of the day. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this extra today. Let me know what you think down below. Hit that thumbs up. Let's try for 1,000 likes on today's video. At least I'd like more, but that's the soft goal, 1,000 likes. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell for all notifications. Continue to join the channel, become a VIP. Sit VIP with me here in the OTS venue, and make sure you guys go and check out all the other videos that you might have missed on the channel, all on the homepage right now for extra content right here on Off the Script. And once again, thank you to my sponsor for today's show, Honey. Join honey.com/off the script. Continue to support the great sponsors right here in the Off the Script family. Guys, I will be back tomorrow with more extra. Until then, have a great Thursday. Hit that thumbs up. Subscribe if you have not done so already. And I'll see you back here in the venue on Friday for more WWE news and rumors.